was this girl, probably about grade 8, grade 9. She came up to the stage and she said that I feel like I'm the black sheep in the family. And this was probably something that you might have heard as well. Or maybe someone had spoken this into your life. That you are the black sheep. You are the black sheep in your family. And why she felt like that was because she felt like a failure, because she couldn't meet the expectations that her parents had placed on her life. Rather, we need to rephrase what we ask. Rather, we need to rephrase how we ask the questions. Instead of asking, how do we see ourselves? Rather, we need to ask, how does God see us? In our gospel narrative, where Jesus is in the crowd and amongst the people, he looks at the crowd and he doesn't see their failures. He doesn't see their shortcomings. He doesn't see their mistakes. But what he does see is this. He sees the pain behind the smiles. He sees the anxiety which is behind the confidence. And he sees the loneliness which is behind the popularity. The world sees status. The world sees labels. The world sees the status of who we are and who we are not. But Jesus sees us for who we truly are. He then turns and he looks to the disciples and he says something which is very profound. He says, the harvest is rich, but the laborers are few. Jesus is not talking about farming here. Jesus is talking into the narrative of the world that we currently find ourselves in. People are yearning for hope. People are yearning for a future. People are yearning to find their purpose in life. Jesus doesn't say the harvest is rich, so let's wait on the experts. The harvest is rich, so let's wait on the priest or the lay ministers or the confirmation instructor or the youth leader. Jesus is calling on ordinary people like you and me. And how do we do this? We do this by looking into this beautiful month which we commemorate, June. In June, we celebrate a beautiful day. It's not just a public holiday. We celebrate our young people. Our young people are not only the future of the church, not only the future of our world and of our society, but Pope Francis, a couple of years ago, he penned it and he said it so beautifully when he said that the youth are not the future, but they are the here and the now. Young people are not the future, but they are the here and the now. In 1976, thousands of young people took to the streets in Soweto to make their voices heard. And there we could see that they were not politicians. They were not famous leaders. They were not social media influencers because they didn't exist back then. But they were ordinary people. They were students. They were young people, just as what you are. And they decided to stand up. And in the same way, Jesus and God is asking us to stand up as well, to stand up for our faith, to stand up for what we believe in, because we find that the world and the society we find ourselves in can sometimes be very skewed. If we look at our current context of South Africa, where would we find ourselves today if it wasn't for those young people who had stood up back then, paved the way for us today? Where would we be as a nation? Where will we be as a nation in 10, 15, 20, 50 years from now if we don't stand up? If we don't stand up and say, but this is wrong, and we're going to stand up against the injustices. We are going to stand up against the inequality. We are going to stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves.